let's talk about your time in WWE, being there, being a part of NXT. We talked earlier about you and Jesse meeting there and getting together, and the success that you had while you were there, followed up by being released rather unexpectedly. What did that do to you in terms of like that feeling that we were just talking about of like, man, is the world against me doing this? Why would I be released while having success? And I felt like you were having, I definitely felt like there was like a spotlight on you in NXT and your time there. It seemed like everything was on the up and up. So what was that like for you to be released like that unexpectedly?
It's interesting to see that people have had that thought about me. Like I was on the up and up in NXT, and I was like, oh man, you were getting a lot of success. But at the time, there was like no chatter about me in NXT at all because like for that first year, like I felt like I was just like a good hand to have, and that's also what built up a lot of like that resentment is starting to like build a little bit. It's like because
Mm-hmm.
I put over the Leo Rushes, I put over the Cameron Grimeses, I put over the Santos Escobars, I put over the Bronson Reeds, the Austin Theories. I kept putting all these people over.
Mm-hmm.
I even when MSK first came in, their debut was against me. I put them over. I put over
Yeah.
Leon Ruffs. So it was just like okay. And I had like a couple conversations with Triple H. I'm like, when am I going to be your guy? What is it going to take for me to be your guy? I had three specific conversations with him. I'll never forget them. That I always push the envelope for. Even I texted him one day. I was like, "Can I have a conversation with you?" He was like, "Oh, is there anything that you can talk to Matt Bloom about?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, okay." And then like I would like stare holes in him all day at production, just like I haven't forgotten this. I wanted them to feel the heat that I was like glaring on him. And finally, like when we did have a conversation, I'm like, "What is your hesitation putting the ball in my hands?
Mm-hmm.
What can't you know?" And um, he gave me like gave me the answers that kind of felt like they were repetitious answers from this person asking them, this person
Okay.
asking them, and the one before. And I was like, okay, that's like I got it. So I knew going to like keep tapping that egg, it wasn't going to work. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, here's me. I got to be creative. I got to think again. Cause so now I went around and my time for my promotion was up, it was coming up, and I said, okay, this is what I need. This is what I need to do. He's like, well, I can't get you that, but this person's office is open right there. I'm like, okay. So I went to Shawn. Me and Shawn Michaels started really like sitting down having hour-long tape studies, just me and him, no distractions, not in the middle of TV day. It's just
That's
me and him
cool.
in the office, and it was we were watching me and Matt Riddle from Defy Wrestling. We were watching my PW Ultra stuff, PCW Ultra stuff from LA. We were watching like other stuff. I'm like, okay, I want to watch what got you here. Why are you here?
Yeah.
That's the person I want to see. And that's what turned everything around for me. So it took like a year of like doing all that stuff to get to that point to be able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
to have that equity to even get that like conversation, that window open.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, cool. And that's where the it started really turning around. That's where like my hair color started changing, put the grills in my mouth and all that other stuff. I really started dabbing into the hip hop feel of things. And it was something like me and Bronson had another TV match, Jonah, and we just went at it because like I feel like Triple H didn't feel like I was like intense enough.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so we just beat the crap out of each other. Boom, had a banger. And then it was like, that's the when the light bulb went off for them. And then
Mm.
Stephanie McMahon came up and said, "You're like my favorite heel. You're my
Mm.
favorite heel here." And then everything just kind of whirlwind and went up from there. Um, honestly, that's when Hit Row started forming. They literally the hit makers. They put them with me, and we just formed this family type vibe, and it was really cool because like AJ was like the godfather of like templating a lot of what we would say and what we would do. So he would build the tree, and we would all just implement all our stuff, and it was cool because every week of promoing, we would like rotate the who's the head of the dragon that
Oh,
week.
that's cool. Yeah.
So then that's what made every promo unique. We didn't have us formulaic thing where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this they're doing that thing again. So I'm like,
He's
oh,
the
AJ, you
talker
should,
and they do
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah. We never had that. It was like, oh, Tahuti, you need to be the centerfold this one because like you're falling back here. We need to push you up here this week. So boom,
Yeah.
he would like ignite the fire, be the aggressive one, and Brianna would be this. Then we would have little bets between us. I'm like, all right, who's not going to flub a line today? All right, cool. Anybody flubs the line, you gotta put $25 on. So we was like trying to get through it without like flubbing the line or whatever. And so like, and Brianna was like so professional. She never, not one time skipped a line on nothing. Never
Hell
flubbed a
yeah.
line. She was
Love
always on
that.
point. So we was always like doing these little things. Yeah, but like getting called up was awesome. That felt like it felt like the Misfits finally won. You know,
Yeah.
like you can't deny us anymore. That's
Yeah.
what it felt like, that win. Because you know, in every industry, every promotion, there's favorites. You know, there's those. It's not, I wouldn't call them as much favorites, but they're the go-to guys for the
Mhm.
product. You know, you know what you're going to get when you put these guys on, and they're positioned that way for a reason. But it was like we can do that too, and we can do it differently. We're not saying better. We're not saying we're going to like pop the rating to a whole new thing, but we can do this differently,
Mhm.
and it's going to be different and unique. And that's all we asked for. And then we got it. We finally got it for those like 5 months of NXT. We got it. We were
Yeah.
prominent, you know. And no, we didn't tread into anybody else's lane. Nobody treaded into ours. We were here moving forward, you
Yeah.
know. And I feel like um uh main roster happened and everything. They didn't had take the chance on us, so it felt like they didn't take that same chance that
How
a Shawn
frustrating
would.
was that to
Yeah,
like to step into that world? I mean, I've had this conversation. I've been there, you know, obviously I've
for
witnessed it
sure.
firsthand, but to have that success and feel like, okay, we're getting somewhere, shit is on
Yeah.
track, then you're like, you know, everyone's always clamoring to get that main roster call up, then you get it and it's not what you thought it was going to be.
Right, right. Right off the bat, it was just like it hit hard because they got
Sorry.
rid of Brianna. No, you're fine. It got rid of Brianna right away. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, that indicated to me and everybody else was like, I don't think they feel confident about us. They're not as, you know, I don't think they believe in us as much as they think they should believe in us.
Yeah.
And that started like, well, I kind of seen the right for me. The writing was on the walls. I'm like, oh, okay. There's not as far there's not as far as we can go if they're already just like dismantling pieces like
Sure.
Legos off the
Yeah.
bat.
Picking you guys apart. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially the time where WWE was going, everybody was kind of like flying off the shelf left and right, left and
Yeah.
right. You know,
Yeah.
it was literally like the movie Nope. People just getting sucked into the sky, and it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
gone
Yeah.
now.
Right.
so so that once again reignited a whole new fire in me. When I got let go, it was like, oh, I'm gonna hit the phones and I'm gonna like make myself the hottest commodity in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's turning. The first couple 2 days was like a little rough, but then it's like I remember watching Drake Maverick his
Yes, his
promo
promo that
video.
he did. Yep.
He's like, that phone's always gonna ring. It always does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know what? That man is right. And
Yeah.
so sure enough, the phone started ringing. I started getting options. And I took a trip to LA to try to like, okay, I can't just go in as just me as the wrestler. I got to come in with like a whole bunch of assets that I can also attribute to any product that I'm going to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went to LA for like 2 weeks in Hollywood. I met some people in entertainment, met some producers. Like literally, I built a team over there that supported me and my podcast and all these other things and my
Mm-hmm.
music. So when I got signed, it was like, oh, by the way, I'm not just coming here with like, I don't want to just do your like get a music entrance song applied to me. I have music already. Oh, and this guy
Yeah.
that did it, he won 2 Grammys. So what do we have? So he's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do that. Okay, cool. So now that set me apart. Then it was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm making these appearances. I'm going to the Grammys. I'm going to this. I'm going to do that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, by the way, I have Kevin Gates. We can bring him in. Oh, okay, cool. So like right away, I was just like the first 3 months in AEW made me completely forget about my last 3 years in WWE.
Right.
Because it's
Yeah.
just like I put all that focus and energy and that resentment and stuff into building something. and now it's like I'm here 7 months, and I truly believe without a shadow of a doubt I'm the best acquisition of 2022 in any company.
Yeah.
Because I've been consistent. I'm here. I'm like, you don't just see me on a wrestling ring. You see me every which way. Like there's a camera, I'm going to be in it. There's an interview, I'm going to be in front of it. There's a song, I'm going to be rapping on it. There's an artist, I'm going to be here. Like I
Yeah.
want to be everywhere, and that's the kind of that those not really little, but those big disappointments turn into big successes later on.